Why does food get stuck after bariatric surgery, and what can you do about it? Hi, if we haven't connected before, I'm Steph Wagner, a bariatric surgery and obesity medicine dietitian. So let's talk about something that almost every bariatric surgery patient experiences at some point, when food feels like it's getting stuck. So what's really happening? Well, after a bariatric surgery, your stomach, of course, is smaller, which is also meaning this entrance into your stomach is smaller, kind of like going from a big door to a tiny doorway. So if you try to put too much food through that tiny doorway, it's just not going to fit as easily. So a quick refresher of how digestion works: you chew food in your mouth, you swallow, it travels down the esophagus into your stomach. Stomach churns that food, breaks the food down before sending it into the small intestine, where nutrients are absorbed, then on to the large intestine before elimination. With a sleeve, your stomach pouch is about the size of a small banana. With a bypass, it's about the size of a large egg. Either way, the opening is smaller, which makes it easier for food to get stuck in the esophagus before entering into the stomach pouch, as we say. Most of the time, food gets stuck because of two things: the bites are too big or eating too quickly. So to give a visual, I often hold up the tip of a highlighter marker, which apparently I don't have in this office, so here's my lip gloss. So the opening of this highlighter marker is about the size that we have available to get food into. So we often talk about bite sizes around the size of a black bean because it's like a game of Tetris to get the food in comfortably. So why does food sometimes feel stuck after only one or two bites? Because it's not fitting in very comfortably. It's frustrating, right? This happens more often with dense proteins like chicken, beef, or pork. The denser the food, the harder it hits. Now, usually it does come back to bite size and pace. If you eat too quickly, those bites back up on each other. Other times, the pouch might already be irritated from a previous meal. So for example, maybe dinner last night, like the chicken breast, felt uncomfortable, and now the next morning, even eggs feel like they're not going well. In those cases, it might be helpful to take a little step back. So give your pouch a break, maybe go back to protein shakes for a day and keep your water going just until you feel like that irritation is starting to resolve. Then go ahead and move again to soft proteins and then back to solids. But the important thing here is to not get stuck on the soft foods long term. And I see this all the time. Patients feel more comfortable with yogurt, cottage cheese, soft proteins, and they stop pushing themselves to get back to solid foods. But solid protein is really helpful. And here's why. You can eat more soft protein than solid protein, which means larger portions, and softer proteins also leave the stomach pouch faster, which leaves you hungry sooner. So on top of that, sticking with only a few soft foods makes your diet really boring. Boredom makes it harder to resist tempting foods. So while yogurt and eggs and tuna salad, they have their place, we do want to keep working towards tolerating those more solid proteins to fill you up with a smaller portion size, keep you full, and keep variety in your eating. Now on to another common question. Why does it feel like there's pain in my chest and not in my stomach? Well, that's because the esophagus travels through the chest before it comes and connects to the stomach under the diaphragm. So when food is stuck, it's often backing up in the esophagus, which makes it feel higher, like it's in your chest. What do you do when it feels stuck? Like, what do you do in that actual moment? Well, first, here's what I wouldn't recommend doing. Don't drink water. It might seem like water would push the food down, but it often makes things worse by adding liquid on top of already stuck food. So instead, some other things that might help, you could try a digestive enzyme, different blends that have enzymes and papaya enzymes, things like that. Rub your chest, walk around, sit upright, and give it time to pass. I've heard of patients using a meat tenderizer. So I would say talk to your team about that. I've not officially recommended that before, but I have heard patients have success with it if it's really painful and it's not moving. Here's a final tip. Moisture in your lean proteins makes a big difference, especially with those meats. So if you're finding your meats are really dry, cover them when you cook. Like maybe you put a lid over your turkey burgers if you're making turkey burgers on the stovetop. It traps that moisture in and keeps them softer whenever you're going to eat them. You could use stoneware if you're doing a sheet pan or baking. Stoneware tends to keep moisture. You could add broth or liquid when you're cooking, or especially if you're reheating in a microwave, which will dry the food out. Also use a meat thermometer so you don't overcook it. So you can pull that protein off heat when it's 5 degrees away from being at temperature. So you can get chicken off at 160 because carryover cooking will take it to 165. So bottom line, food getting stuck is so uncomfortable. It's usually a learning moment about bite size, chewing, pacing. Give yourself and your pouch some time to rest after that happens, and then try again. Well, thanks for watching. If that was helpful, consider signing up for my emails. You'll get lots of freebies in my emails every week. And for even more resources, recipes, video courses, community, find out about Premier Access membership to Bariatric Food Coach.